O God, show mercy to us and bless us with your grace.
Let's take some time then to think about the need for such a thing as Correspondence Bible Study. Across my 13 and a half years of involvement in 4 state prisons near Fresno, California, and interactions with literally hundreds of inmates, it's been very striking to me that many of them, and in fact I think I could say most of them, for most of them either their first encounter with the gospel for understanding, or at least their first grounding in it occurred after they were incarcerated. What that means then is that virtually all of their discipleship, virtually all of their establishment in faith has occurred, is occurring in that radical isolation that prison is. I've been very encouraged over this time by seeing how much the Lord has done within the confines, raising up persons who are eager to share the good news, proclaim the good news, and also disciple one another. It's always very good for me to remember that the Lord's been at work long before I ever showed up. But it makes sense to show up. Doesn't it make sense that there would be co-labor between the church outside and the body of Christ inside? There is need for that consistency, need for that relationship, need for that stability, need for a sense of community with the church outside. And as a matter of fact, think about it, very, very many, the great high percentage of those souls will be outside, in community again. And so it makes sense for the church to be involved in relationship before that. I always tell the believers with whom I work, even if you have, I say this, even if you have 5 years or even more before a target release date, get in touch with a church now. Last week, get started, get in touch, get into relationship with a congregation, a local body, and stay in relationship over time. You may find that some of the men with whom I work write to you and say, Tim McCracken told me to write to you. Good for them. Let me be staff to you to help figure out how that relationship could go over the course of time before release. It is important to speak some about just some of the realities of what it's like to get involved with metanoia, Bible study, correspondence. Not every interaction in correspondence Bible study is going to be a precious moment. But if you are consistent in it over time, if you really seek that it be relational, and if it's attended by prayer, it can be substantial over time. You have to know that many who fill out that first paper and apply for a Bible study never even return the first Bible study. You have to also know that many who begin returning the first Bible study, maybe the second or the third, bail after that. But you can follow up and you can persevere with them. Generally, the snail mail exchange runs in about once a month, unless you have a really eager student. But it goes about once a month, and that feels slow for everybody, believe me. But if it goes 5 weeks, 6 weeks, it's time to write. It's time to follow up. Use the ministry return address. Follow up, inquire, how are things going? And you'd be surprised how that can keep that connection going over time. At present, there are probably 750, that's a ballpark figure, 750 of these Bible study relationships across the nation. Again, among those, there will be a number that are tenuous, whether they will continue or whether they will not. But Very many of those are relationships. Some have already gone on for years, and you could be involved. Thank you.
Let nations come rejoicing, and songs of gladness raise.